Texas Morning News. I'm Ashley Christians.
And I'm Emily Bushnell.
We're going to look at our weekly segment called Capturing Culture.
That's right. This week on Capturing Culture, we're taking a look at the Caddo Indian tribe of Texas. Yes, the Caddo Indians of Texas. They were hunters and gatherers. They stayed in one location, and as we'll later see, they had housing that was not portable. They made houses that stood. Within the housing that they had communities in these villages, and their communities were very strong. And because of these strong community bonds that they had, they didn't fight much with their neighbors. But when they did, something very, very interesting is that after they fought, they went right back to being peaceful. They didn't fight to death, they just fought to show their courage. Also, within their communities, they found religion to be a main example of something that they held high. In fact, they were known to move large amounts of dirt into mounds, and on these mounds, lifted up above the rest of the village, is where the religious figures lived. All of these things worked together to make a community that was very important to the Caddo Indians. What else do you have for us on the Caddo Indians?
Well, I have a lot of information about their housing. Actually, the Caddo Indians lived in tall, grassy huts that were covered with cane and grass.
Oh.
And inside these huts, they had furniture, including beds and chairs. The Spanish actually liked the Caddo Indians because their beds and their furniture reminded them of themselves. The Caddo Indians had two different kinds of houses. In the winter, they had a house that was covered and tall and big, so lots of families could live in it together. Example. In the summer, they had different houses, which didn't have roofs, and the floors were like screens, so air could come through and keep the house ventilated. Also, in the Caddo society, the men were hunters, and they built the houses, and they protected their communities. The women gathered plants and foods, and they tended to the small children. And although the kids were kids and they could play games, a lot of them worked when they were a young age, so they grew up pretty fast.
And there you go, the first piece of information on the Caddo Indians. We're going to a short break and we'll be back momentarily. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to a word from our sponsors, Member Mark. Member Mark today would like to present hand sanitizer jumbo size. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is flu season. Are you protected? Members Mark hand sanitizer. 99.99% of germs killed. Get your hand sanitizer from any Sam's Club today.
Welcome back to the Texas Morning News on Channel 5.
Right now, we're going to head it out to our resident geologist, Emily. Yes, she has more in-depth coverage on the Caddo Indians.
Thank you, Emily. Now we're going to talk about the Caddo Indians and where they lived. They lived in the east region of Texas in the piney forests. They tended to center around the Red River region. If they were still around today, they'd be experiencing cloudiness and about a 40 to 50% chance of rain, starting around 5 p.m. this afternoon.
Thank you for that weather report, Emily. I know normally we cook in this segment, but now we'll just be talking about the foods that the Caddo Indians enjoyed. Corn, beans, and squash were their main source of nutrition. Also, the Indians utilized hunting groups where the men would go to the south and hunt the plains buffalo. They would dry the meat out to preserve it and then bring it back to the women. And that's a good man, huh? And then, let's see, closer to home in the piney woods, the Caddo Indians hunted deer, turkey, and squirrels, and sometimes rabbits. Also, most of the women gathered acorns, blackberries, and other roots. In fact, the early European explorers said that finding the woods cleared like a European park was due to the vegetation being cleared by the Caddo Indians, so they were good at it.
Thank you, Kristen. Talking about all that food is making me hungry.
Yum!
Well, that's our news broadcast for today. Now on to Sesame Street.
Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Bye!
Peace.